Good day, everyone. Today I am going to discuss two theories, the social bond theory and the social reaction or labeling theory under the course Theories of Crime Causation. But before we proceed with the discussion, allow me to introduce myself first. Hello, my name is Arlene S. Macarilay. You can call me Arlene or just simply Tita R, and I am from BSc 1-1. Let us now proceed with the objectives of this lesson. At the end of the discussion, the student should learn and define social bond theory, identify the proponent of social bond theory. Third, identify and differentiate the four elements of social bond theory: attachment, commitment, involvement, and belief. Fourth, learn and define social reaction or labeling theory. Fifth, identify the proponents of social reaction or labeling theory. 6. Identify and differentiate the two labeling process according to Edwin Limert. 7. Understand the labeling process and its consequences for those who are labeled. Let us now proceed with the discussion. Travis Hershey is an American criminologist born in Rockville, Utah on April 15, 1935. Hershey's social bond theory on juvenile delinquency and self-control theory on crime are his best-known theories. According to Bernard 2023, Hershey is also a well-known author of Causes of Delinquency 1969, and he also wrote a general theory of crime in 1990 with Michael R. Gottfredson, an American criminologist. Hershey proposed in his study, Causes of Delinquency 1969, that the absence of social relationships can explain delinquency. Social attachments, participation in activities, acceptance of social standards, and understanding of the ethical value of rules and laws would probably avoid delinquency. And through this book, he developed the social bond theory. According to Wicker 2022 in the book A General Theory of Crime, which Hershey wrote together with Gottfredson, they define crime as acts of force or fraud undertaken in pursuit or self-interest. They argue that all crime can be explained as a mix of criminal opportunity and low self-control. They identify parenting as the most important factor in influencing an individual's tendency to commit crime. For example, if a child is raised in an environment where inappropriate behavior is punished, he or she is less likely to commit a crime. But if a child is raised in a home where he is disregarded and abused, he is more likely to commit a crime in the long run. Social bond theory is one of the sub-theories under social control theories. It was developed by Travis Hershey in 1969. Hershey's theory focuses on the idea that humans tend to exhibit delinquency or criminal behaviors. For him, the interesting question is what keeps people from breaking from norms. Social bond theory proposes that an individual is less likely to commit a crime if they had a strong bond to social institutions. The concept stake in conformity was coined by Toby in 1957, which refers to how much a person could lose if he or she engages in criminal behavior. The higher a person stakes in conformity, the less likely they are to commit crime. For example, if the teacher has financial problem and is thinking of selling drugs, the possible outcome of her actions if she gets caught is she will lose her job, as well as her license. She will also lose financial stability and become imprisoned. She does not want to suffer the consequences, so she chooses not to sell the drugs. According to Travis Hershey, social bond theory is composed of four elements, namely attachment, commitment, involvement, and belief. Attachment refers to the degree of bond and relationship an individual has with his or her social environment. If an individual has a strong bond, he or she is more likely to care about the opinions, expectations, and support of the important people in his or her life. Then, an individual is more likely to conform. For example, Lara is a teenager who is being forced to drink alcohol beverage by her friends after their class. Lara does not want to disappoint and embarrass her parents, so she refused to drink the alcohol beverage and left her friends. Commitment refers to the individual's dedication and investment of time, energy, and money in conventional standards and goals. If an individual is committed to conformity, he or she is less likely to misbehave because he or she has something to lose. For example, in 1966, Richard Speck, a 25-year-old man, went to Chicago to look for a job, but he failed. On the night of July 14, 1966, he gained access to the apartment where 9 student nurses reside. He raped and killed the 8 student nurses, while the only survivor, Corazon Amorao, a Filipina, was able to hide underneath the bed and escape. Speck is an alcoholic, and before he committed the crime, he spent his idle days drinking alcohol and roaming around the bars of Chicago. He also has 20 charges for crimes on his record at the age of 25. We can say that because Speck is not committed to conformity, has no job or family to lose, he was able to commit the crime. Next, involvement. According to Hershey, a person is less likely to commit a crime if an individual is engaging in socially accepted activities. For example, a teenager is actively serving the Lord every Sunday in their church. He serves through singing and playing musical instruments. Because he is committed in serving the Lord and involved in his church, he is less likely to commit delinquency or crime. Belief. According to Hershey, people's views on social norms, culture, and values differ. But when it is internalized, it promotes conformity. For example, a person values and obeys the law because he or she knows that there are consequences if he or she violated the law. For example, you are angry to a certain person and wanted to murder him. But as a criminology student, you know that crime against murder is punishable under Republic Act 7659 and can be sentenced for reclusion perpetua to death. Instead, you will not commit the crime and apply the maximum of tolerance. Next theory is social reaction or labeling theory. Social reaction theory, or more commonly called as labeling theory. This theory is the self-fulfilling prophecy, which states that a defiant person adopts and organizes their personalities around the labels of most groups, especially significant members of society. Labeling theory states that we adopt our self-concept to fit what other people believe of us, and if they call us a criminal, we will eventually behave correspondingly. In other words, we will become offenders because other people label us as such. According to Drew 2022, this theory is concerned with how the people's opinion influence an individual's identity and behavior. According to the labeling theory, social reaction refers to the social control agencies, including the family, friends, law, and the media, whose responses to deviance influence deviant acts. The proponents of social reaction or labeling theory are Frank Tannenbaum, Edwin Lemert, and Howard Becker. According to Yeager 2011, in criminology, Frank Tannenbaum is best known for his description of the dramatization of evil, which was an early predecessor of labeling theory, which gained popularity in 1960s. According to Tannenbaum, dramatization of evil is the process of tagging or labeling a person as bad or delinquent. In this stage, the person is labeled as a criminal, not only the act that is labeled crime. Edwin Lemert, one of the labeling theorists, introduced and defined the two labeling process, namely primary and secondary deviance. He developed its concept from his book Social Pathology, which was published in 1951. Lemert defines the first process, primary deviance, as a first rule violation committed by someone who is otherwise socially complying. Regardless of whether others observe the deviant act, there are no labels put on or tagged on the person who committed the deviant act. For example, a teenager is underage and she drinks alcohol while at the party. She went home and her parents caught her because of the smell that lingers on her. But her parents only reprimanded her. Another example, a boy stole money from his parents for the first time. Because it only happened one time, he does not receive any punishment and was only reprimanded by his parents. The second process, according to Lemert, is the secondary process. Secondary process is defined as the reaction to the primary deviance that lead to secondary deviance by labeling or tagging the deviant act. As a result, the deviant act or behavior is witnessed and the perpetrator is labeled. Furthermore, according to Lemert, secondary deviance is a concept important to labeling theory because it analyzes how a deviant personality or career emerges due to being labeled as deviant. For example, the teenager who is underage drank alcohol at the party was seen by the neighborhood, and then they labeled her as an alcoholic. They told her that she would not succeed because at an early age, she had already started drinking and already had bad habits. Another example, the boy from the example in primary deviance, for the second time steal money but this time from her classmate. He was caught by his classmates and they labeled him as thief. Now that we know the two labeling process according to Edwin Lemert, let us go back to the third theories of social reaction or labeling theory, which is Howard Becker. Howard Becker was the first and one of the most notable labeling theorists, publishing his influential book Outsider in 1963. Labeling theory is linked to Becker's work Outsider. He states and describes labeling as deviancy is not a quality of the act a person commits, but rather a consequence of the application by others of rules and sanction to an offender. Deviant behavior is behavior that people label. This means that someone became deviant because of how people react to what is done or to the act committed by the person. Becker is therefore uninterested in the factors that lead to abnormal behavior. Instead, he is curious on why people choose to classify their behavior as deviant and the impact that label has on the individual and on the society. To further understand the social reaction or labeling theory, let me give some examples for you to further understand the labeling process and its consequences for those who are labeled. It says here that an individual who receives labels from members of society organizes his or her action around the label, especially to the negative labels. Example, sentence becomes a repeat offender because of the label of the society or the people around him. He tends to go back to his old ways of committing crimes because he or she is being labeled as an ex-convict. This is one of the reasons why the correction pillar failed to execute its concept of reformation and rehabilitation. Another example, society associates a person as criminal because his father committed murder. Because of this label, it is possible that he follows the destiny of his father's path. But not every labels are negative. There are some positive labels too. For example, if a child is labeled as an outstanding student in her study, the societal pressure and expectation that she receives from the label can encourage the student to continue and finish her studies. Another example, if a daughter is obedient to her parents, she has the tendency to be labeled by them as good daughter. As a result of this label, that daughter always follows her parents' orders or requests to be complimented as obedient. In conclusion, social bond theory suggests that an individual is less likely to commit crime when they have strong bond to social institution. Social reaction theory suggests that negative labels pushes a defiant person to more defiant acts. Thank you for watching this video. I hope that you have learned something from this topic. Have a nice day and may God bless us all. And here are the references and sources I used for this presentation.